The story opens with the image of a boy who holds a very common belief that with a bit of cleverness and quick thinking, he can outsmart others without being caught. He believes that if his actions are subtle enough, there will be no consequences, or at least none for him. This mindset gradually leads him to take right and wrong less seriously, choosing easier shortcuts instead of acting with honesty. At first, everything seems to go exactly as he expects. No one suspects anything, no one finds out, and he achieves results without putting in much effort. This only reinforces his mistaken belief that a little dishonesty doesn't matter as long as no one knows. He convinces himself that these are just small actions, not serious enough to cause real harm. However, the story slowly reveals an important truth the boy has overlooked. Life always finds its own way to balance things. Actions that seem harmless, when repeated over time, accumulate and eventually return with consequences far greater than expected. The results may not come immediately, but they will come at a time when you least expect them. The core message of this opening is clear. Every action, whether good or bad, carries its own consequences. You might avoid being caught for a while, but you can't escape the laws of life. What you do today lays the foundation for what you will receive in the future. So before choosing a shortcut, ask yourself, is the price you'll pay later really worth it? The central character of the story is Rohan, a boy living in a peaceful village whose daily job is delivering milk to local households. It is not an easy task. He has to wake up early and carry heavy cans of milk from his family's farm to different homes. This job naturally requires diligence, honesty, and a strong sense of responsibility, since milk is something people trust and consume every day. However, Rohan does not choose to approach his work in that way. He isn't exactly lazy, but he is constantly drawn to easier, quicker methods. Instead of accepting the hard work, he comes up with a small trick to reduce his effort. He starts adding water to the milk before delivering it. This makes the cans lighter, easier to carry, and allows him to finish his work much faster. At first, he does this very secretly, making sure no one notices. As day after day passes without any suspicion or complaints, he gradually becomes more confident in his choice. In his mind, this is a smart move. He saves energy without losing any income. He still gets paid the same while putting in less effort. This line of thinking leads Rohan into a dangerous trap of self-justification. Deep down, he knows that diluting the milk is wrong, that it is dishonest to his customers and to his work. But instead of confronting that truth, he reassures himself with seemingly harmless excuses. It's just a little, it probably doesn't matter much, or anyone would do the same. These justifications slowly blur the line between right and wrong in Rohan's mind. What begins as a small act turns into a daily habit, repeated without the guilt he once felt. The real danger is not in cheating once, but in starting to see it as normal. This flawed habit lays the groundwork for the consequences that will follow. When someone becomes used to choosing the easy and dishonest path, they not only lose the value of their work, but also unknowingly place themselves at greater risks in the future. After a long time of delivering milk in his usual way, Rohan suddenly finds himself facing a major opportunity, one that could completely change his life. One day, the entire village buzzes with excitement at an announcement from the village head. A grand festival is coming soon, bringing together people from many neighboring areas. As part of the celebration, there will be a competition to select the best milk supplier for this important event. The reward is far from small. It's not just gold, but also reputation, trust, and long-term business opportunities. For someone like Rohan, who makes a living delivering milk, this is a rare chance to transform his future. Winning wouldn't just improve his family's financial situation, it could also help him build a respected name for himself in the village. When Rohan hears the news, he is filled with excitement. His mind quickly paints bright visions of the future. A new bicycle, his own shop, and the admiration of those around him. For the first time, he truly feels motivated to give his all for a meaningful goal. He decides to prepare seriously for the competition, working harder, delivering milk more consistently, and making the most of every chance to leave a good impression. If this story is making you reflect, Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more meaningful lessons like this. Yet, there is one crucial thing Rohan does not change. Despite his determination and ambition, he continues his old habit, adding water to the milk. In his mind, it doesn't make a big difference, and he believes he can still outperform others with his cleverness. What Rohan fails to realize is that this inner conflict is quietly holding him back. On one hand, he wants to achieve success through genuine effort. On the other, he clings to a dishonest habit that has become deeply ingrained. He believes he can take shortcuts and still reach great success, without understanding that the two cannot coexist. The opportunity has arrived, but the way Rohan chooses to seize it will ultimately determine the outcome. Everything begins to change when a harsh summer arrives. The weather turns unbearably hot for an extended period, rainfall becomes scarce, and the village's water supply starts to dry up. The once full river is reduced to small pools, and the wells, the main source of water for the villagers, become murky and no longer as clean as before. Life in the village is affected, and everyone struggles to cope with the shortage of clean water. Despite this situation, Rohan continues his daily milk deliveries as usual. Instead of recognizing the growing danger of the water supply, he keeps his old habits, secretly adding water to the milk to make it lighter and easier to carry. What he fails to realize is that the water he is now using is no longer clean. Affected by the drought, it has become contaminated and potentially harmful to health. At last, the day of the festival arrives. The village is more lively than ever, filled with both locals and visitors gathered to take part in and witness the competition for the best milk supplier. One by one, the participants present their products to the judges, who carefully examine and evaluate each entry. When it is Rohan's turn, he steps forward with his usual confidence. In his mind, everything is still under control. He believes that as long as he performs well, he can win just as he had imagined. But from the very first sip, the judges' expressions begin to change. They quickly notice something is wrong. The milk no longer has its original quality, it appears diluted and even has an unusual taste. After a closer inspection, the conclusion is clear. The milk has been mixed with unclean water, making it unsafe for consumption. This announcement is made publicly in front of the crowd. In that moment, all eyes turn to Rohan. The initial silence is soon replaced by whispers and suspicion. People begin to question whether this is the first time or if he has been cheating all along without anyone noticing. The trust they once had in him seems to collapse in an instant. Rohan stands there, no longer confident as before. He realizes that his seemingly small habit has led to serious consequences. It's not just about being disqualified from the competition, more importantly, he has lost his reputation and the trust of the entire community. This incident is not something that happened by chance. It is the result of a long buildup of repeated mistakes. And now, everything has been exposed, leaving no room for denial or justification. After the truth is exposed in front of the crowd, Rohan is left almost frozen. Everything he had hoped for, everything he had imagined as a life-changing turning point, disappears in an instant. The competition he had placed so much expectation on is no longer an opportunity, it becomes the place that marks his greatest failure. The reward, the recognition, and the future he once envisioned all slip out of reach. Yet, what weighs on Rohan even more than losing the opportunity is the reaction of the people around him. The villagers who once trusted him, who received milk from him every day without question, now look at him with doubt and disappointment. Whispers begin to spread not only about what just happened, but also about what he might have been doing all along. Once trust is broken, it is incredibly difficult to rebuild, and Rohan begins to feel that reality deeply. Among all those looks, one in particular becomes unbearable: the look in his father's eyes. His father had trusted him completely, giving him responsibility without ever questioning or checking on him. There are no harsh words, no punishment, but the silence and the clear disappointment in his father's eyes hurt more than anything else. It is not just disappointment over a wrong action, it is the pain of betrayed trust. Rohan realizes that his mistake has not only affected himself, but has also hurt those around him, especially the ones closest to him. In that moment, he understands that the price of taking shortcuts is not just the loss of opportunity, but the loss of trust, something far more valuable than any material reward. And once it is lost, it is never easy to earn back. After the major shock at the festival, Rohan falls into days of deep reflection. He cannot forget the moment when people looked at him with suspicion, nor the disappointment in his father's eyes. These memories push him to seriously think about what he has done. For the first time, Rohan stops making excuses and chooses to face his mistakes honestly. Eventually, he makes an important decision to completely change the way he works. From that day on, Rohan commits to delivering only pure milk, without adding anything, no matter how small, not even a little water like before. This means returning to the original hardship, carrying full, heavy cans of milk across the village under the scorching sun, taking more time and effort than ever. The first few days are far from easy. Rohan has to push through exhaustion and the discomfort of facing people who have lost trust in him. Some remain doubtful, some are cautious, and others even refuse to buy his milk at first. But instead of giving up, Rohan understands that this is the price he must pay, and that persistence is his only path forward. If you're following this journey of change and finding it meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire personal growth. Day by day, Rohan quietly does his work well, without showing off or over-explaining. He lets his actions and honesty speak for themselves. Gradually, some people begin to notice the change. They see that the quality of the milk has improved, and they recognize his effort and sincerity in the way he works. Trust does not return immediately, but little by little, it begins to rebuild from doubt to acceptance, and eventually to belief. Rohan comes to understand that fixing a mistake requires more than promises. It takes time and true persistence. His transformation is not loud or dramatic, but it is strong enough to make a real difference. And through this journey, Rohan grows into a more mature person, someone who truly understands the value of honesty and consistent effort. After a long journey of effort and change, Rohan gradually regains the trust of the people in the village. However, the result of the competition that day cannot be changed. He missed the biggest opportunity of his life, the reward, the recognition, and the turning point that could have led him down a completely different path. It is a price he must accept for his past mistakes. Even so, over time, Rohan begins to realize that what he gains afterward holds far deeper value. The suspicious looks and whispers fade away, replaced by acknowledgement from those around him. The villagers slowly begin to trust him again, willing to buy his milk as before. Some even support him more because they can see his genuine change. Most importantly, Rohan earns back his father's trust. There are no grand words of praise, but the sense of reassurance and the softened look in his father's eyes are enough for him to know that he is on the right path. It is a reward that cannot be measured in money or material things. From his experience, Rohan learns a lesson he will never forget. First, there are no true shortcuts to lasting success. What is gained through dishonesty may come quickly, but it will also disappear just as fast, often leaving even heavier consequences behind. Real success only comes when we are willing to put in the effort, stay persistent, and do things the right way from the beginning. At the same time, he comes to understand the law of cause and effect in life. Every action, no matter how small, carries its own consequence. Good deeds may not bring immediate results, but over time, they build lasting value. On the other hand, wrong actions, no matter how harmless they may seem at first, will eventually return and force us to face them. Rohan's story does not end with a glorious victory, but with a deep sense of growth. He does not gain gold, but he earns respect, and once built, that respect becomes a strong foundation for any success that follows. The story concludes with a message that may seem simple, yet carries deep meaning in life. Sometimes, we tend to overlook small mistakes, thinking that a little dishonesty or bending the rules won't lead to serious consequences. But in reality, the opposite is true. These small actions, when repeated over time, accumulate and eventually create consequences far greater than we ever imagined. A wrong choice today may not make you pay immediately, but it quietly forms habits and gradually shapes the way you think and act. At some point, when the consequences finally appear, they are no longer small. They can affect your reputation, your opportunities, and even your most important relationships. If lessons like this help you reflect on yourself, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more meaningful stories like this. On the other hand, the path of honesty and persistence may not bring quick results. It requires you to accept more hardship, slower progress, and sometimes even short-term disadvantages. But these very challenges build a strong foundation. When you consistently do the right thing over time, you develop credibility, something that cannot be easily taken away. Credibility doesn't come from words, but from actions repeated every day. And once you earn the trust of others, you possess an invisible yet powerful asset that can help you go further in any area of life. In the end, the most important message the story conveys is this: what you put out into the world will in some way come back to you. If you sow honesty, you will receive trust. If you sow dishonesty, you will eventually face the consequences. So every choice you make today not only affects your present, but also shapes your future.